Well, as usual, Fresh Bake, we're going to be spending a day at Disneyland today. But I wanted to do something. We've had some specific requests recently, something that I thought would be an interesting challenge. We're going to go to Disneyland. But today we're going to do it without using our phone. We're going to go to Disneyland and not even open up our phone at all. Now, granted, that's not a particularly difficult task in and of itself. Just don't turn your phone on, and then you get in there and you just go dark. You wing it, you play it by ear. Anybody can do that, but the reason why you're watching a Fresh Bake version of this sort of task, this sort of video, is because we're going to endeavor to show you how to do it better, with a little more help. There are ways to do Disneyland without your phone that might improve your experience. There are ways we can do it where we can, we can find out the optimal ways to handle the park without having to rely on the phone, i.e., which attractions are easier to get on without having to use Lightning Lane or even check Lightning Lane. Or your wait times. We're going to try to find restaurants where standby guests aren't getting screwed over by mobile order, for lack of a better phrase. Mobile order kills standby for restaurants. So in the same way, probably worse actually, than Lightning Lane does standby for attractions. Nevertheless, that's what we're going to endeavor to do today. Look at these crowds, though. I wanted to show you guys this because it is not rope drop time. This may look like it's 1 o'clock and everybody's coming over from DCA. It's 11:30 on a Monday. Mondays are the new Fridays, guys, or the new Saturdays even. The last few Mondays and Tuesdays that I've spent in the park have been pretty crazy, and this looks like it's no different. We're gonna wait a little bit. By the way, I should note that this is going to be the one and only time that I'm gonna be using my phone today because I don't have a paper copy of my ticket, of my pass, and you need your app to have to get scanned into the park. Now you can, though. It is possible to not use your phone, to scan into the park without using the app. You can print your ticket. You can print your annual pass for that matter. So it is possible. I do not have a printer, so I can't do that. I know I've been given to understand that people don't print things on paper anymore, and I'm one of those people. So we'll use the app once to scan in, and then we're on our own. The best part, before we even get into this day, I want to say the best part about choosing to do the park analog, choosing to do the park without getting into your phone at all, is that it's the very best way to see the park organically. The way to do the park without a phone is to follow the Disney winds, is to walk through the park, use your own eyes, then also in terms of finding out what lines look long, or which we're going to get into. We're going to show you tips on how to figure that out. But it's also a great excuse to take advantage of things like the Dapper Dance. There's no cue for the Dapper Dance. All you have to do is listen. Yeah. Keep your ears open when you're walking down Main Street. Walk with a ginger pace, take your time going down Main Street. Take things in. There's no rush. This is exactly the right time to do things. Now, I'm not here at the right time to do this, but apparently there's no vehicles out. But that's the opportunity. It's the time to get on the omnibus, to get on the fire truck, to take the horse-drawn streetcar or the horseless carriage. Now is the time to do that. Perfect time to do that. But as I mentioned, there are no vehicles on Main Street at this moment. They don't do them when they're getting ready to do a show.
You're my idol.
Oh my God, thank you very much, man, thank you. But with that, we're gonna keep up making our way down Main Street. I'm just gonna stop by a few attractions and restaurants and kind of give you my feelings, the intelligence that I've gathered over the years. What's a good opportunity, what isn't, how to do things. For example, the first trick about doing the park without an app is to do attractions that don't require an app, that don't require Lightning Lane. Pirates of the Caribbean, for example. Dark rides in Fantasyland. Those attractions don't use Lightning Lane, you don't need the app. They're kind of almost always the same time. The dark rides in Fantasyland are almost always the same time. You don't need to know anything. Now, unfortunately, there is only one way to find out what the wait times are without getting on the app, and that's through this little wait time board where it's actually always very crowded, because this is also where they do like, you know, plaid stuff. Now I'm hungry, so one of the first things I want to do is figure out where to go to eat. And you're looking here for situations when you're where they have more than one cash register, more than one standby station. Typically Jolly Holiday has only one. We're gonna go look here in a second. Jolly Holiday is one of the worst at that. It's a slog for standby. This is nothing. You don't want any part of this right here. The only time this would be a good idea is if they are running both registers, which it looks like I see one on the left and I see one on the right, and that is pretty rare. Jolly Holiday typically only runs one, so while this line looks longer than usual, it may not be a bad idea because you're splitting, you know, you're splitting sides here. Now here's a great tip when you're looking for value, when you're looking to save some time getting food at the park. Look for restaurants that don't have mobile order. Look for restaurants that don't offer it. There's not very many. Matter of fact, they just converted one of the last remaining. Rancho del Zocalo just picked up a mobile order, and it has ruined it. Absolutely ruined it. Tropical Hideaway, though, does not have mobile order. So you're looking at this queue, though, my goodness. This is a lengthy queue, not a value. If you see the queue out the door like that, and all the way through here, you're looking again, that's about a half an hour. Now, the good news is, though, is that a lot of folks are buying just Dole Whips, and they'll serve the Dole Whips here right away. Anybody who is looking to buy non-Dole Whips, if you're looking to get Bao or the Lumpia, you pick those up here. You don't have to wait in this line. You don't have to wait in the Dole Whip line. You can go directly to the Bao line, which obviously there are nobody here right now. Now, I don't know if all these folks are necessarily, I think they're probably just being polite. But at a certain point, you might want to, if you know you're not getting a Dole Whip, if you're getting a Lumpia or Bao, you can just skip through here. Just ask, you know, like make sure you're not jumping anybody in the line. I am feeling a little bit interested in, how's it going? In this queue. It's been a minute since I've had Lumpia or Bao. I'm kind of wanting to, but I want to keep going because we just started the show. Hi, how are you guys? Hi. We just started the show, and I want to keep moving, and I want to go look at Jungle Cruise and Bengal Barbecue. Now, some of these tips are gonna be, you know, repeats from things we've said in the past, but the objective here isn't necessarily, you know, just to say, hey, walk around and look at the wait time boards to find out how long Jungle Cruise is. You know, that's easy. Anybody can do that. We mentioned that at the outset. I'm going to try to help you out and say, hey, whether or not, okay, that says 50 minutes, but is it really? Probably in this case. If you see guests up here, that's bad. It's a true 50-minute wait. So that's one thing to look at. Bengal Barbecue, great option to eat at, but it's got a horrendous standby wait. That little group right there is going to take them 30, 45 minutes just for that little group, assuming that they're doing decent business on mobile order, which they normally are. They have just the one register for standby, and everything else is set up for Lightning Lane. So that's another tip, what you're looking for, and I think I mentioned that in the Jolly Holiday. You're looking for situations where they have two registers instead of one. You're looking for restaurants that have two. Now, sometimes some cases a restaurant will have two, and other days it'll have just one. Jolly Holiday is an example of that. Hungry Bear sometimes does two, but not often. Oh, I forgot to check out Indiana Jones. There's not a lot of tell. Indiana Jones is bad for standby, just saying. We've been over this. I think the wait time said 50 minutes. Actually, that thing says 30. Oh my gosh, is that even right? When we were out there at the hub, it said 50 on the board. That says 35. Okay. I think it was closed, which is why it's just 35 right now, but you are definitely looking for situations like this. Yeah, that's 35. You're looking for, if you see it posted 35, but this thing has got guests in it, then it's not. Generally speaking, the Indiana Jones single or standby line does not lie. And that won't even be 35 because I don't even see Lightning Lane getting in here. But I think that's because the attraction, hi guys, the attraction was closed for a bit. Just, you know, peek your head in here. In a lot of cases, you kind of have to commit yourself to go and look and do a little recon, but just a quick scan of an attraction will say whether or not it's a good value. Okay, Pirates of the Caribbean. by the way. The queue is up here. So far, I don't know if it's beyond that. Was posted at 65 minutes. On site, it says 50, but even at 50, I'm not scared. I would actually seriously still, you know what? There are certain attractions, just go, just do it. If you want to ride Pirates, get in it. Don't wait for the right moment, just do it. Because you're gonna break your brain trying to do it perfectly. This is one of those cases where I'm not ever worried about Pirates of the Caribbean, even when the posted wait time says 50. Even if I see the queue out here like this, it's hardly ever as long as it's posted. And if it is that bad, it's still, at least it goes quick. It's a fast moving queue. This might be 50, but that would be the top side of my guess. It could be as little as 35 or 40. Let's take up that food conversation once again. We're at the French Market, and this is potentially a great little bargain for time savers. It does have mobile order. It does have mobile order, but it also has a split queue. It goes left and right. And for whatever reason, every time I've come in here, it's been a very short line, no matter what time I've been in here. So let's see how standby looks. And they are just running the one side. You know what? It's because it's served like buffet style. It moves pretty quickly. This is a great opportunity. Whereas, you know, like let's say Hungry Bear, for example, where you walk up, you place your order, and then you wait for them to make it. In this case, because it's cafeteria style, it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. It goes quick though. I think I'm gonna do this today. I'm gonna get lunch right here at the French Market, and then we're gonna show you some other possibilities. Now there are times though when they do have both sides open. It's not very often, but it's usually during more peak times. If the left side's open, that's a definite go. No problem at all, French Market, if both sides are open. There it is, guys. French dip. Well, they call it the roast beef po' boy now, but for me, it'll always be the French dip. Took me 9 minutes. Took me 9 minutes from into the door to out the door, which is great for standby. French Market, I recommend it because of the cafeteria style. Keeps things moving. They've got the food, you know, they're making it for you while you're ordering it, which is great. So I'm going to enjoy this for a little bit, then we'll get back on the road and start looking at attractions and restaurants around the park to see how we can best defeat using your phone at Disneyland. Using the Disney Winds, not relying on the app, requires you to take advantage of opportunities as you find them. This is an opportunity. 10-minute wait. We're here. The next train is ours. We're gonna get on this train right now.
Around Walt Disney Magic Kingdom. Passengers, stand by for
If you're ever looking for a reason to get on the Disneyland Railroad, if you don't love it as much as I do, going analog, using the winds, avoiding the app, this is a perfect excuse to ride it. I don't need an excuse, but this is a great one if you need.
At this time, our train is taking on water. At this time, all we ask from you friends is to please remain seated. That way, once we're done refilling with the water, we'll be able to depart as soon as possible. We do thank you for your patience at this time.
Take your time. I'm just watching the Mark Twain. That we'll be talking about again in the future.
edge of the benches on the opening for the train, and ensure that they too are seated at this time. Once again, our next stop is going to be Mickey's Toontown Depot, your gateway to Fantasyland.
Such friendly train engineers.
For those just joining us, welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. To ensure a safe ride, stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And please watch your kids.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños.
This is my favorite part of the journey. Around every bend, there's natural beauty as far as the eye can see. There is the revered Indian shaman sharing his stories with those in the Great River Valley below.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Y bienvenidos a bordo. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
As we leave Toontown Depot, we get a real nice view of the happiest land of them all, Fantasyland. You can see people stepping onto It's a Small World just below us. And, off in the distance, majestic Matterhorn Mountain.
The Main Street Station, your stop for the Photon Empress and the Main Street stop. Once again, as a friendly reminder, Main Street is the only station without a ramp that is closed all night. Once again, please remain seated until the train comes to a full and complete stop.
This is New Orleans Square Station, New Orleans Square.
As we arrive at New Orleans Town Square Station, remain seated until the train comes to a full and complete stop at the station. Once again, this is your gateway to Adventureland, Frontierland.
Wow. Crowd picked up while we were gone.
And of course, Star Wars Galaxy.
Well, back on the ground again, headed through Critter Country, Splash Mountain. No bother trying to figure this one out. It can't be figured out. It is what it is. During the winter, it's easy to get on. You don't have to worry about Lightning Lane or how long the standby is. It's going to be what it is. During the summer, like now, it's hot. It's always going to have a long wait. The standby, you're not going to get any bargains at Splash Mountain. It's never going to be a situation where you're like, oh, now's a good time to go. They're all bad times during the summer. So you either just go for it or you skip it. On the other hand, there's never a bad time for the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, no matter what it looks like. I mean, unless it's way out here, which is very rare. It hardly ever creeps out into the main pathway of Critter Country. Otherwise, it's never a bad time to get just to go visit Winnie the Pooh, because this is a very quick loading attraction. It cycles guests quite quickly, so it could process all these folks in less than 20 minutes, I would say. By the way, I turned around and had to go back to New Orleans Square because I walked right past the Haunted Mansion without even turning the camera on. But it's closed right now. Today's the first day that it closed in preparation for the Haunted Mansion holiday, for the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. But if you're watching this video in the future, there are opportunities for Haunted Mansion. What you're looking for are cases where there's very few people in the extended part of the exterior queue for standby. In most cases, if you can get into the standby queue at just about where the pet cemetery is, you're in pretty good shape for standby, even if there is a decent Lightning Lane group working. You're looking at 40 minutes, 30 or 40 minutes at that point. But I have a feeling, this is again kind of like Pirates. If you want to ride Haunted Mansion, just get in the queue. The times don't vary a lot. It's generally going to be somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes. As the peaks flow throughout the day. And if Haunted Mansion is a priority for you, you don't need the app to tell you when is a good time to go. The time is always pretty much now, when you feel like it, when you're here, when you're in New Orleans Square, or when you feel that Jones, just get in you don't have to wait for the opportune time. I mean, if you want, you can wait until the end of the night or something like that, or you can wait until Fantasmic is running. Those are good ideas. Same thing for Pirates of the Caribbean. But maybe you want to do that for others. Maybe you want to go to Fantastic. Maybe you want to watch. Maybe you want to watch the fireworks on that night. The point is to, as I've been saying, is to try to figure out ways to improve your efficiency. Haunted Mansion is not one of those situations where you can improve your efficiency. You either go or you don't. Choose it or don't. Now, as for dining, Hungry Bear is an interesting situation because they have kept 3 of their cashier stations, 3 of their standby cashier stations. However, the one on the far left is only used for the Fantasmic dining packages. That is not for regular standby guests looking to dine at the regular Hungry Bear restaurant. They have just 2 stations for that. But the fact that they have 2 stations is good. I'm not sure if this was always the case because I kind of remember there being just these 2 at one point. But it isn't always the case where they have both of them manned. But take a look. If you could see the situation like it is right now, where standby has even this many is not that bad for two standby stations. Not bad at all. Now, unlike though, like French Market, this takes Hungry Bear often takes a while for them to prepare your food. I don't know why that is, but you know after you place your order right here, it takes 5 or 10 minutes sometimes to get your food out to you on a busier day. Not sure why that is. That's why I prefer French Market, because the cafeteria style food delivery. It has been years since I've gone down these steps. I used to have a reason because there used to be seating down here where it was actually enjoyable to bring your food down here, even though I have dropped a tray here once before. This used to be an enjoyable place to have your Hungry Bear meal. That was right up until they made it a walkway into Galaxy's Edge. Right up in, back when the edge here was the water. This was the water line right here. And you'd have ducks come up to your table. Good times, very pleasant. Not so much anymore. It's kind of sad in there. I'm sorry to say. All right, Rise of the Resistance. Man, I could do a whole video on, as a matter of fact, I still plan to, a whole video on how to beat standby at Rise of the Resistance. But since I'm not doing that now, the objective here is basically to just try to save some time if you can, to make a decision based on observable evidence. And I would say, at the very minimum, you don't want to be getting a standby when it's out here, which is good. Right now, we're not in that case, but we are in the first section of standby. Actually, there's like 4 sections. This is what I would call the second section. That's plenty long. That is plenty long. It all depends really on Lightning Lane, and that's so it varies so much that it's hard to say if that's a good standby wait or not, because we have no idea how many people are in Lightning Lane. But if I were just trying to make a yes or no decision on standby for Rise, even if it were a priority for me, that queue would be a no. Let's take a look at what the waitboard says. Posted wait time is 70 minutes. If you want, you can further vet your decision by looking at how dense the Lightning Lane queue is. And at this point, it's virtually empty, which is a good sign. That's probably why, even with that size queue, it was still just 70 minutes. Last time I was here, the very last time I was here, all of this was full of Lightning Lane, making standby impossible. But you are looking for, if you want to come over here and just see how many people are coming through Lightning Lane, look there and see if there's a bunch of people in there. If you see any more than a few, if you see people standing in there as opposed to walking right through, you got a problem. Ronto Roasters is a very nice time-saving hack. It does have mobile order, so there's a lot of folks doing that. They come over here on the left for mobile order. The reason why this is a great time-saving hack is because they serve just 2 things. They don't have a complicated menu. Ronto wrap or a vegan Ronto wrap. There's not a variety in terms of the menu. You walk in here, you know what you're getting. You walk up, you say, can I get 1 Ronto wrap and 1 Tatooine Sunset, and then you get the hell out of the way. And that means that they can also prepare things they don't have to worry about how they prepare the food, they can just have a bunch of rental wraps stacked up there. So it moves really, really quickly, even standby. And you may have noticed that there's nobody in that queue right now. There's nobody in the standby queue. That is another fantastic tip. This might be the best tip when it comes to saving time, getting food via standby at the park. The best tip that I can offer you is to not go during peak times, to not be in the park, to not try to get food, anywhere really at noon or at 5 o'clock. I'm trying to navigate traffic here while in selfie mode. Try to eat off hours at 11 o'clock or at 2 o'clock, at 4 o'clock or 7 o'clock or something like that. Because that's when people aren't doing a lot of mobile ordering at that time. People aren't getting in the queue a lot at that time. And you have a much greater opportunity, a much greater chance of zipping through the standby wait time at any restaurant. And one could even argue that while everybody else is having lunch at noon or having dinner at 5, they're not enjoying attractions. So that would be a good time to get in the queue. It's 3 o'clock right now, so it's probably this is the time where people are going to be getting in a queue. A little bit slower wait. Standby is 45 minutes posted here for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It is impossible to tell if that's good or not, or if it's going to be 45 minutes or not. It's very difficult to know how true that is. I will say though, that if you do see guests out here, that is often not a good sign. Now, the fact that it's 45 minutes and there are guests out here would suggest to me that there's not a lot of Lightning Lane. But the second any kind of Lightning Lane shows up, they're going to get the priority. They're going to get first dibs, and this will crawl out here. And depending on how much of the interior queue, if they're using all those switchbacks around the ship and everything in there, I mean, that could be excruciating. That could be the longest 45 minutes of your life. Fantasyland. This is my favorite part of the journey. I love going to Fantasyland because it's the way I like to do Disneyland. You know what's funny? This whole conversation about how to do Disneyland analog, how to do it without using your phone, is pretty much the way locals do it, the way pass holders do it. We take the path of least resistance. We do the things that other people aren't doing. Wherever there's a gap, wherever there's a slow or an empty part of the park, we're there. That's where we're going. And Fantasyland is built for that because there's hardly any fast pass. You got Small World way over there. Is that it? I can't. Matterhorn. But Fantasyland A, where we're at right now, this is all standby, and they're very consistent with the wait times. There's hardly ever. There is really no good or bad time. I mean, obviously, early in the morning, late at night. That's the same for every attraction here at the park. But as far as the dark rides go, it's the same. You just come here and you just do Fantasyland. No big deal. If you want to unplug, if you want to get to Disneyland and just feel the breeze of the park, feel the Disney winds, there is no better place to do that than right here in Fantasyland. This is it. Every attraction is just a joy. Peter Pan is always 45 minutes. It's just never not going to be. You either choose it or you don't. Actually, I was going to say Snow White. Look at that. Here's an opportunity. I could just tell right now. I think the ride was down for a minute, so we're going to capitalize on that. That's the whole thing when you're talking about taking advantage of doing things analog, is spotting opportunities and going with it. See a chance, take a chance. Yeah, I could do 45 minutes for Peter Pan or less than 5 minutes for Snow White. Now, we'll stay this way. It's already starting to fill up. It'll be 30 minutes soon. But yeah, great bargain. Just being observant and watching and taking advantage. That second to last room is just, it rivals the Peter Pan. I mean, it's not there yet, or it probably will never get there, but it's darn close. That second to last room, with Snow White in her sleeping chamber with the lights and the deer, and oh my gosh, that is just pure Disneyland magic. I love that scene. That was wonderful. That took about 5 minutes. If Casey Jr. is on your list, that's a good cue. You want to avoid Casey Jr. when the queue gets down there to meet up with Dumbo. That's bad. You also want to look, if you see at any point that Casey Jr. is running 2 trains, then there's no queue that I'm afraid of. We've got a train and station now. The other train right now would be right about where Casey's doing the I think I can bit, which I do not see. In most cases, it's very rare these days for them to have 2 trains. They hardly ever have 2 trains anymore, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure what the what the cutoff is for them to do 1 or 2 trains, but if you see 2 trains, get in that queue, because there's no wait that I'm afraid of. There's no line that I'm afraid of in that case. We're gonna jump into Red Rose Tavern here real quick to see if they are running any more than 1 standby cash register. That's your standby queue on the right, which is healthy-ish. That's 15 folks. Yeah, they're using just the 1 station, which is typical. They have a second one, but this second one is hardly ever manned. It's almost always only the very first window there. So this is a situation where maybe you choose another option. Because you're looking. If you want to save time, you're looking for situations where they have 2 stations. It's hard to tell. That's the problem with getting food without using the app, because you don't know if they're using a second cashier or not, a second station. I'm here to tell you that what is typical, and it is typical for Red Rose Tavern to have just 1 station. No joke, ordering food is the hardest part for me in terms of doing no phone, going analog, because mobile order's awesome. I don't like it in the sense of what it does to standby. I don't like how it affects guest satisfaction, how it affects guests' levels of service or whatever. I'd much rather there be a world with no mobile order. I don't like it for what it does, but it is an absolute positive time saver. So in this video where I am trying to teach you how to do this without the phone, I'm here to tell you that if you do use your phone, use it to mobile order, please, because you're saving yourself a whole lot of time if you do. By the way, another good value here for Dumbo. Not even looking at the board, I'm going to say this is less than 30 minutes. If you see back there where the organ is, if you see that queue empty-ish at least, then that's a pretty good wait. You're here at a pretty good time. It's the opportunity to do things now. It says 35 right there, and I would be surprised if it is that. It is a terribly slow loader though. It is a terribly slow loader. It takes forever to get guests through that attraction. So that's one attraction that I tend to skip unless I have an absolute walk-on. Tea Party. This is a good opportunity here. This is a very slow loader also, but the way it works, you can see, my eyes tell me that that's 1 rotation right there. All these guests are getting in on the next rotation. I would say probably all the way up to about here. It depends on how many, fill up each teacup. The fact that you can put, at least, normally 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 even, depending on how, if there's a bunch of kids, you could put 4 people in a cup, 5 even. I think I just saw a cup with 5 kids in it. There's 4 people in that cup. No, that's 5 people. There's 5 right there. That's 6. That's 6 kids anyway. So depending on how many you're putting in each cup, you could definitely fit all these guests. Matter of fact, we're just gonna watch. We're just gonna stand here and see what happens. Because that teacup ride is done. Teacups, it looks scary, but it actually goes quicker than it looks. Because in a minute, this queue will be empty. My guess was to here. So, but it look. I think there's a chance they might get everybody we see. And there they go. And the baby is gone. Let's see. I still see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 empty cups. Okay, we may not get to where I thought we were. It was right here. That's where I was guessing. We may not get all the way there, but we're getting darn close. There's still 1, 2 cups to go. 1 cup. We were just short. So it would have been, once they fill in all this space, they're gonna push everybody into this waiting area. I think it was the gentleman in the Titleist cap was the back of our row right here, right there. So maybe just shy of that. So if you ever see the queue full to that point, then you know you're getting on the next one. And then if it's not that one, then it's the next one, and that goes all the way out here towards the tray and everything. And that, Fresh Bake, is why you watch Fresh Bake, because hard-hitting recon like that, I'll sit there and stare at those lines, so you don't have to. You can just walk up to the tea party and say, yep, or nope, just like that. And if the Tea Party or Dumbo or Casey Jr., if those were nopes for you, your momentum probably would have taken you towards Small World, either Small World or Matterhorn, but we went left and went to Small World, where we can face our next yep or nope decision. This one's a lot easier, in my opinion, because there are opportunities for Small World, even in the middle of the day, to be a walk-on. I did this the other day, right in the middle of the day like this, and it was a walk-on. Right now, this is kind of actually in the middle of yep and nope. The kicker, again, like always, Lightning Lane. That line that you're seeing right here, this right there, that's Lightning Lane. Is it? No, that's standby. I'm sorry, that's standby. There's an inside track for Lightning Lane. I mean, I don't like it that it's out here. I definitely, if it's here, this is bad. This is straight no. Where that cast member's walking right now, that's a straight nope. You're looking at 45 minutes to an hour out here. That inside, that second part, each one of those aisles, each trip up and back is approximately 4 or 5 minutes. I have timed it, yes. So I have done the recon for you on that. So each one of those is, you know, not even 5. It's maybe closer to 3 or 4 minutes, depending on how fast. You see how these guys are kind of flowing? They're not stopping. That's a good sign. But once they do stop, it'll take about 3 or 4 minutes to traverse each switchback. So do the math on that. That's like 4 or 5 switchbacks. So you're looking at 15, 20 minutes there. So that's not bad, because that's pretty much it. Once you get through that, the rest of it is pretty easy. You've also mixed already with Lightning Lane. So, but this is nope. Right here, this is nope. Come back another time. If you're back in the neighborhood, come back another time for Small World. There will be better opportunities. Well, the Matterhorn, like Haunted Mansion, I can't really show you today. I can't give you any working examples today, but I can tell you that this is one of the most difficult attractions to figure out in terms of whether or not it's a good value for standby, because Lightning Lane is so erratic and unpredictable, and it, as always, it has the biggest effect on whether or not the wait is going to be a solid wait or not. However, if you see a standby queue just coming out here to the backside of the mountain, that's pretty much a no, I think. There is single rider. If you were able to do that, that works pretty efficiently. I think the longest I've ever waited in single rider was 20 minutes. But if you're in a group and you can't do that and you want to wait, I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Even if you see a short line that would, from here, it still could take a little while if Lightning Lane is busy. And it can be. I've seen it happen. But as far as good signs go, if the extended queue, if the exterior queue is just that little nest that they have in front of the covered part of the queue, then you're probably in pretty decent shape. It's not going to get much better than that. It's not ever going to, well, it won't get better than that. It could get worse, like out here. This is bad. Okay, well, we've arrived in Tomorrowland to find Finding Nemo. One of the great pleasures in my life these days is just seeing enormous queues for Finding Nemo. I know that sounds weird and it doesn't make any sense. The reason why this makes me happy is that I like to see people enjoying this attraction. It makes me happy to know that this is pulling guests, that it's doing work. And that makes me happy in terms of the future of this location, of this site, of the lagoon, of the attraction, of everything. Seeing guests here waiting for 45 minutes or more for Finding Nemo is an excellent, excellent sign for my vision of the future of Tomorrowland. There are no bargains with Finding Nemo except for rope drop. There are no bargains. It says 45 there. I'd be shocked if it is. That's a solid hour. This is one of the most excruciating standby waits that you'll ever encounter in the park. Luckily, there's a little bit of shade. Well, I guess there is some shade there, but this is a very difficult wait. So you really have to commit. You have to really want to. Hi, how are you, Aaron? You really got to want to be on Finding Nemo, and it makes me happy that these folks want to be on Finding Nemo. God bless you, folks. There's no shortcuts here. There's no good time, bad time. There's no, in some places there are benchmarks. On some attractions, there's benchmarks where you can say, okay, if it's here, you're good, but if it's past that, you're not. There is none. It's like this all the time. It's like this almost all the time. So if it's a priority for you, then come in the morning. That's all I can say. Like Matterhorn, Autopia is very difficult to judge. That says it's 4 o'clock and that says 25 minutes, but you can see there's pretty much nobody up there in that queue. But that could change at any minute if they get a big influx of Lightning Lane. But it's always difficult to tell when or if you're gonna get that rush of Lightning Lane guests. So you kind of look at that and you say, well, that's good, this is good. What you're looking for, again, is for an empty queue up there. You're looking for no guests in that section up there. None is preferred. You're hoping that the only guests that are in standby right now are in the turnaround, the roundabout there. Assuming that the roundabout is open, which I can see guests over there on the left. So yes, they are using the roundabout. You want that to be the maximum. I can see though that they've got a little bit, they got some Lightning Lane action, but not a lot of standby. Also, actually you can't see from here, but you're looking for situations where they have all 4 lanes open. The middle of the day right now is the time to be riding, is the most likely time for them to have all 4 lanes open. I'm gonna try to peek. That's all 4 lanes open. Coming in later in the evening, you think you might save a little time by coming in later in the evening. They actually reduce it to 2, which does not help at all. If you can reduce the number of people in the queues by 2 or by half, but if you also reduce the lanes by half, then you haven't done anything at all in terms of the wait. So actually, this right now is prime time for Autopia standby right now, if you ask me. If I had Autopia on my things to do list, I'd be getting in that queue right now. So I've noticed a lot of cast members walking around. We're actually not walking around, we're kind of posted. There's 2 right there.
Sorry.
Just looking for opportunities to engage with guests. And one of them stopped me and they wanted to say hi because they were fans of the show. But I asked what was going on. And they said, this is Step Into the Magic. And I thought, oh, you mean traditions? Like, no, this is the second day. They're new hires. Traditions is the first day. And they call the second day Step Into the Magic. And ever since she told me that, whenever I walk by a cast member now, I start singing Step Into the Magic. I wish them all great fortune in their careers at Disney. I hope they all do wonderful things here. I love Disneyland. Hi, how are you? Hey guys. I love Disneyland cast members, young and old, new and veteran. The fact that you choose this means so much to me and to fans of this park like me. Thank you very much. I just want to say a shout out to every single cast member who that is doing Inside or Step Into the Magic today, those new hires. I love you guys and I hope everything goes great for you. From the bottom of my fresh baked heart. Posted wait time here is 60 minutes. Now this is one, I'm sorry to say, I'm going to do the recon for you right now. I'm going to show you, but you have to come all the way into the attraction to figure this out, which is not exactly convenient. I apologize for that, but Space Mountain is invisible. The standby queue is invisible to guests from down on the ground. So you're going to have to either come up to the ramp at least to see what the wait time is at 60 minutes down there, or use the board out at the hub because it's very difficult to see this with your eyes. Even when it's full, it's difficult to see because of the ledge, which I'm about to show you here in a minute. My rule used to always be, if you can see guests up here from the ground, then that's bad. You know, other than, I mean, if they're standing, if they're in queue up here, that's bad. Problem is, ever since they, winded because I was going up the ramp, ever since they put in this new queue out here, which that was a few years ago, it hides the standby queue. It's invisible. There's hardly ever guests out here unless they're walking through like we are right now. So the only way to see whether or not Space Mountain is accurate in terms of the 60 minutes is to walk all the way up here. So, I'm sorry. A good day for Space Mountain standby is for this whole room to be empty. You want the whole room to be empty. This is not even close to that. This is completely full up there, and like 2/3 of it or 1/3 of it over here. I have been in this queue when it was completely full. All the way out here, all the way everywhere. It was all full. It took forever. This queue is excruciating before the mix with Lightning Lane. This is one of the most popular Lightning Lane attractions, and the mix point used to be right here. It used to be where the Lightning Lane queue met the standby queue. That used to be the mix point, but now they pushed the mix point further into the queue. You have to go down the ramp once and then back around, and it's on that loop back is where they mix Lightning Lane. So you can't, the closer you get to the mix point, the better off you are. Okay, bottom line on any attraction with Lightning Lane, the closer you get to the mix point, the better off you are in terms of, you know, saving time. It's impossible. It's just impossible to measure this and say, yeah, that's a good day for Space Mountain and a bad day, or a bad day. But you could definitely say now, this is a bad day. But again, you have to come all the way up here to figure that out. If you have plans for Space Mountain and you don't want to get Genie Plus, and you don't want to get Genie Plus, and you don't want to use your phone, I beg you to go to Rope Drop. There could not be a greater case for rope dropping Disneyland than if you want to ride Space Mountain and you don't want to get Genie Plus and you don't want to wait an hour. The only way to do that really is to hit this right before 9 o'clock, 8:30 even. Oh, you want to try to beat mobile order at Alien Pizza Planet? Don't, I guess, is the best thing I can. You know, I'm being crass at this point. I'm being crass because I'm not a fan of Alien Pizza Planet, but the queue, I mean, it looks bad out there, but there are at least 3 cashiers in here, which is a record. You know, Alien Pizza Planet is one of the biggest places to eat in terms of, you know, seating and, you know, guests, being able to accommodate as many guests as possible. They have 1, 2, 3 cash registers here, which is great. They'll be able to cycle those guests that we just saw outside in a few minutes. It's not that bad. I don't like it. I don't recommend it, if only because the food here is not very good. I mean, if you like poor quality pizza and medium quality pasta, great. The salads are okay. They're green, the lettuce, you know. But I think I could come up with different alternatives, better alternatives, than waiting out there in that standby for Alien Pizza Planet. But it's not as bad as it looks. It looks bad, but as long as they have, you know, multiple cashiers in there, then you're probably in pretty good shape. Meanwhile, Galactic Grill, almost exclusively mobile order these days. They have the one ordering station. I think it's the very last window where you can place orders via standby. There's nobody in it right now. Oh, I guess there are 3 people in it right now. With everybody else getting their mobile orders, or that could be that's your standby right here, this last aisle, or this last window. I don't know if I've mentioned this in another video or yet today. In most cases, almost every single restaurant is the same. It takes about 3 minutes for for them to process a standby order, for a guest to reach the window, place their order, and then move on to the pickup window. It takes about 3 minutes per guest to do that on average. So you can do some math on that. If you see, like right now, we saw 3 people in the queue there. That would have been, you're looking at 9 minutes ahead of you, 10 minutes ahead of you. But there were a few more ahead of them. I think maybe there was 7 or 8. Now you're looking at 24 minutes to place an order. It just behooves you at that point to either use mobile order or to find a situation where it's a little more efficient, where they have multiple windows, or a situation like the French Market where they have the cafeteria style. All right, last stop is Frontierland. Our first stop in Frontierland will be Rancho del Zocalo. This used to be kind of a secret weapon for escaping the mobile order nonsense. But rather than that being the case today, it is now worse. It is perhaps the worst thing. What they've done, you guys, to Rancho is a crime. It used to be you had two halves to the interior at Rancho. You had this half over here, which back in the day was just tacos and burritos, and then you had the left half, which was enchiladas and the chicken. They have converted this. This is all now 100% standby. If you're placing a standby order, you're getting in this queue. If you're picking up a mobile order, you're doing it from here. And look there's nobody here. People aren't using Rancho for mobile. Maybe it hasn't, achieved full whatever. Not everybody's aware of it yet. But it is. Every time I come in here, this is empty. Just right now, they were trying to place an order. They thought that it was like it used to be, where you come over here and order an enchilada. No, mobile order pickup only, which has just turned this into an excruciating. I think when we got dinner here a week and a half ago, when they had just converted it. I want to say it was 45 minutes. Imagine waiting 45 minutes just to place an order at Rancho. It's so maddening. They completely ruined the dining experience at Rancho del Zocalo. I don't even want to come here anymore because I don't like. I'm going to do mobile order when I have to in the future. But if you don't want to do mobile order, if you don't want to have a phone, just give up. You can't go to Rancho. If you ever see the queue out here, which you used to routinely back in the day, if you ever see the queue out here, turn around, abort the mission, get the heck out of Rancho. Can't believe we're here, but our last stop of the day is at the Golden Horseshoe, at least dining-wise. You are competing with mobile order. They got mobile order stage door 2, which we could check out, but it's gonna be the same as this. So you're looking here for maybe 4 or 5 guests tops, but if you see, like we were talking about before with the math, if you're seeing 10, 12 guests like we saw there, then you're looking at a possible 30-minute wait to get your food. So the thing about stage door, though, it's nice, is that at least it's indoors while you're waiting. You're cooling off or warming up, if the case may be, if it's in the winter. So there's that. But you're looking in there for a very quiet, chill thing, and if you're not seeing that, then that's probably not an ideal situation. Stage door also has mobile order. This is good. If you see a queue snaking out of stage door, that's really, really bad. I've ordered here with maybe 5 or 10 guests waiting, and it took forever to get that done. This is a great alternative if you see it like this, as opposed to going inside to Golden Horseshoe. If you see a stage door like this is where you should be placing your order. It's much quicker and simpler here, and it's virtually the same menu. Now, this is where we will be wrapping this total show. It's right here at the Mark Twain and Columbia dock. If I were to give you one single tip to improve your analog experience at Disneyland, it is to ride the Mark Twain. You don't need to know how long the queue is. Same thing for Columbia. You don't need to know how long anything is. A boat will pull in here every 15 minutes, every 10 or 15 minutes. You can chill out and wait, or you can do other things while you wait for the next thing to happen and try to time it right so that you're done with that attraction and getting here on that 15-minute interval. Everybody gets on the boat. It's never the case where it's too full, ever.
Northwest, the graceful Missouri of the windswept plains, and the rugged Rio Grande along the border of Texas and Mexico. I'll be sure to point out interesting sights along the way, and even tell you about a legend or two. We begin our trip right here on the mighty Kentucky, Mississippi, heading south and ending up down in New
That's the
Orleans.
best part. The best part of all this, the best part of the Mark Twain and the Columbia as well, is that you get to ride the Mark Twain. It's one of the most Disneyland things you can do. It's one of the most lo-fi analog things you can do. It's old school Disney. I feel really grateful that we get to have sort of a victory lap along America after our day today.
History, music, good food, and ghost stories. The most famous landmark is Splash
You know, sitting over here trying to get a little chill acoustic shot of the river, and I'm like, oh my god, you can't get any more analog than going to Tom Sawyer's Island. No cues, no app necessary here for sure. Don't need to check anything while you're on Tom Sawyer's Island other than just how much fun you're having. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of how to do Disneyland without using your phone. Let's recap a little bit. I think that the top tips that I can give you as far as dining goes is looking for dining locations, being aware of dining locations that have multiple ordering stations, multiple windows for you to order from. Many have just the one and the rest are given to mobile orders. Some have two. For example, we saw that at Hungry Bear today, Jolly Holiday, kind of sometimes you have to peek. If you can help it, also try finding a location that does not have mobile order at all. Over at DCA, Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, fantastic option there. Great option. You'll save a bunch of time there. It'll be super easy. You don't even have to worry about it. Here, I felt like French Market was probably the best bet, even though they do have mobile order French Market. The cafeteria service there makes it much more quicker than it would be at any other type of restaurant. As for attractions go, try to, if you can, hit attractions that don't have Lightning Lane, that aren't on Lightning Lane. Otherwise, Fantasyland is a great option because you kind of already know what is a busy ride and what isn't, and it's the same almost always, so you don't have to worry about whether or not is it a good time or not to hit that attraction. Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion. There's not a single Pirates of the Caribbean queue I'm afraid of. There's not a single Haunted Mansion queue that I'm afraid of for the most part. But above all, find an attraction that doesn't even have a wait, ever. It's the same. Mark Twain, Columbia. The most you'll ever have to wait is 10 minutes for a boat. They're always ready, they're always available, well, up until dark. And they never get full. It's never, there'll never be too many guests for the Mark Twain. Hope this helps you out a little bit, or just gives you a little more peace and comfort about trying to, do Disneyland in this way, in the analog way, the Disney wins way, rather than getting bogged down on your phone, which I prefer not to myself if I can help it. Ask us any questions though in the comments below if you're unsure, about some of the restaurants here or some of the rides and want to know if it's quick or not. Ask us in the comments below, and then follow us on Instagram at _FreshBake, on Twitter at FreshBake Disney, that's Fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBake Disney. If you like our show and want to trade support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/FreshBake. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you very much. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. FreshBake.
Civilization along the Rio Grande. All in the distance are the towering peaks of Big Thunder Mountain. Rumor has it that the railroad built to haul gold out of the mountains was seized by supernatural forces. They returned the mining stream to the wildly dry in the river. Of course, that may be just another lie. On behalf of our entire crew, I'd like to welcome the passage on the Morrison. At this time, we ask that you prepare to disembark. If you're on one of the please make your way down to the first.